Okay, so we have the Tyreek Hill police body cam video. Now, why is this important? Well, because so many of you have been sending me messages. Hey, Tyreek Hill, his body cam video. The cops are crazy. We want you to do a breakdown. And I reluctantly am going to do a breakdown. But I got to say this. First disclaimer is a lot of you people out there who watch these police breakdowns that I do can't handle the truth. Let me just say it. Just cannot handle the truth. No matter what facts, no matter what evidence is on the screen, you just can't handle it. I don't know why. And I understand sometimes these things get testy. They get problematic. But I don't deal in hopes and dreams. I deal with facts and evidence. So that's the way I'm going to do it today. So some of you may be mad. Some of you may be happy. But I'm going to look at the facts in front of me and give you my opinion based on those facts. Nothing about what other people think. You know, I could just do it. Now, today, just so we are thorough in our investigation, we're going to look at a couple of things. First, we're going to look at the original camera footage from a passerby who took cell phone video of the arrest. We'll look at that first. It's like a minute. Then we'll look at the actual police body cam footage, which is about 11 minutes long, and see what happened there. Then I have a special for everybody. We'll then look at Stephen A. Smith's take. We'll look at Charlamagne the God's take. We'll look at Officer Tatum's take. And then we'll hear from the man himself, Tyreek. Just so we can be clear about whether what they're saying matches the video evidence. So first thing we're going to do is jump into not the body cam, this is the cell phone footage of passerbyers.
No way.
Chill out.
Dylan,
Get him video.
I did. Dylan.
Yo, FaceTime. FaceTime me.
We tell you to do what you understand? Not what you want, but what we do. You're a little you.
What the
Tyreek
Dylan, go.
Hill.
Dylan, move. I'm trying to get on video.
They put him in handcuffs.
No way. Flip me around.
Oh.
What? No, he's on his way to the game. Oh, I bet you this Rolls Royce is
Okay, so that didn't seem helpful at all. It shows him being handcuffed and he's on the floor. So now it's all about the why. So there were like press conferences and people talking about it before any of the facts came out. And obviously, before I speak on something like this, I need to see like the body cam footage. Why were cops putting him in handcuffs? Why the arrest? Because all that matters. So you don't know we're only seeing the end of it. So that makes it look really bad for police officers because you don't know what kind of led up to that. So now police have released the full body cam footage. And that's what we're going to look at right now.
Knock on my window like that. Don't knock on
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window.
Why don't you have your seatbelt
Knock
on?
on my window like that, though.
Like what?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here.
Don't knock
That
on
way you
my
can
window.
lower it and talk to
Just
you.
get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down.
Now, I'm going to back it up just a couple of things. Now, obviously, the interaction between him and the officer, there's a little tension there. Now, officers should be trying to calm the situation down. Hey, calm down, calm down. I want to just give you your ticket. I want you to go about your way, but I have to make sure I'm safe. So can you lower the window? Because as you can see from this tent, you can't see inside that car. And officer safety is paramount, right? He doesn't want this guy. He doesn't know this guy, right? He doesn't know who this person is. So I don't know if this guy's going to pull out a gun and go crazy or whatever. So put your window down so I can know that I'm all good and safe and you can know you're all good and safe because I just want to give you a ticket. Now, this whole I'm going to roll the window down and roll the window back up, it makes no sense in this one. So right now, Tyreek is being uncooperative, to say the least. But I don't see any reason now why he should be put in handcuffs. We're just, 39 seconds into the video? But at this point in the game, it seems to me that he's being a little testy with the officers. And let's just be honest here. A police officer pulls people over. You know, it's not a good thing, right? People are going to be upset and agitated and things of that nature. But it just is what it is. It's the world we live in.
Hey,
Like, you really can't see inside that vehicle. That's why the officer is saying, you got to roll down this window. Like, when you do a car stop, the number one thing is you being able to look inside the vehicle to make sure you're safe. So he could have easily just rolled the window down and kept it rolled down.
keep your window down.
Don't tell me what.
Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
Now, I would say that that's appropriate because you are trying to keep a visual on the person and making sure there are no weapons or whatever, right? And if the person is not cooperating and keeping the window up and you're saying you can't really see inside the car, all right, just get out the car. Now, the Supreme Court says you can be ordered out of your vehicle. So now this lets me talk about some Supreme Court precedent. So obviously ordering somebody out of the vehicle is going to be the issue here. And the Supreme Court has made it very clear multiple times that police can order the driver of the car out of the vehicle if the car stopped lawfully. Like in this case, you're speeding, car stopped lawfully, and you're not wearing a seatbelt. So you got the two checks of the car's been stopped lawfully. So police can order both the driver and passengers out the car. Now, the best case on point for this is Maryland v. Wilson. And the facts of this case are fascinating. Now, after a state trooper stopped this guy, he was actually a passenger in the car. Wilson was a passenger in the car. So the cops ordered both Wilson and the drivers out. When Wilson stepped out, guess what? Cocaine hit the floor. So the cop sees the cocaine, he was arrested, and Wilson then went to court and said, hey, that was an illegal search because why they ordered me out the vehicle? I'm not driving, they don't have any right. So then Baltimore City courts, they said, okay, we agree with Wilson. They suppressed the evidence. They appealed all the way to Maryland Supreme Court, and the Maryland court said, hey, he's right. They couldn't have searched him. So then Maryland went to the Supreme Court and said, hey, can police order out passengers of cars? And the question for the Supreme Court was, quote, did Maryland state trooper violate the Fourth Amendment search and seizure guarantees by ordering Wilson, a mere passenger, in the suspect vehicle to exit the car during a traffic stop? And the Supreme Court, not unanimously, in a 7-2, in which Justice Ginsburg joined Justice Thomas, Souter, O'Connor, and Rehnquist, and Scalia. So Ginsburg is on with Scalia and the rest of it. It was a 7-2. They held no. The court held that after lawfully stopping a vehicle, an officer may order its passengers to step out. Shocking. While burdening their personal liberty somewhat, officers must be permitted such authority over passengers if the overriding government interest in the officer's safety is to be protected. So the Supreme Court said, yes, if you're in a car and you're stopped for a lawful reason, officers don't have to let you sit in the car. They can tell you to get out. Now, under the circumstances I'm seeing in front of me, seems like the officers were justified to tell them to leave. Hey, but I can't see inside the car. You keep rolling the window. Your windows are tinted. So just get out the car.
Give me that. Get out of the car.
Give me that. I'm gonna break that freaking window.
Get out of the car.
I'm finna get out.
Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Damn. What part of blood are you in this town? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, dude. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin.
When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand?
I'm getting out,
You
bro.
understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you.
I'm getting
You're a little
out.
fucking confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too
bro.
late.
Okay, so I do want to talk about the officers' de-escalation tactics, which seems to be non-existent. I think at this point in time, the officer is way too aggressive. This could easily be a conversation. I think the officer is too anxious to put hands on somebody. I'm just going to plainly say it. I think if I'm this officer supervisor, I'm telling him, I'm like, I think you kind of went a little bit overboard here, and I think we need maybe some to de-escalate situations like this, because this is not a guy who's going to be fighting. Now we know this after the fact, but as soon as you open up the door, you tell him to get out. At least give him a chance to get out. You don't have to grab him and drag him out. I think that's where the cop obviously went wrong. So the cop went way too aggressive here. And I think this is probably why the cop would face any type of maybe discipline, departmental discipline, because the main goal is to de-escalate situations so they don't get to the point where you have to put hands on somebody or you have to get physical. And I think the cop failed here. I don't think Tyreek forced the issue with the handcuff. I think the cop did, and I think the cop is doing it because the cop was just annoyed. And I don't think this justifies all this, but I think the cop legally is okay. But I don't think it justifies all of this. I do think the cop is going overboard, but let's see what's going on now.
All right, bro, take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
Hey.
Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. Stop crying.
Bro. You know my woman like she's crazy. I gotta be on my woman like y'all crazy, bro. You know my woman like he's crazy. I ain't do nothing, twin. Hey, hold on, pull to the side, Lou. Hey. Hold on, bro. I just had surgery on my knee. Bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro.
You had surgery in your ears when we told you to put you in the lab.
Chill, bro. Hey, don't do, bro.
Now, I'm stopping it here because I do think now the cop, he's being way too aggressive at this point in time. The guy's telling you, I had surgery on my knee. I can't get on my knees, blah, blah, blah. He's saying, chill out. And the cop is just, at this point in time, we're not in Mexico or Venezuela or wherever else, right? We're here in the United States. And there is a level of responsibility that I think an officer has to at least listen to the suspects and not put them in a position where you can injure them. Because again, this is a simple traffic stop, right? There's no reason to even be at this level. Simple traffic stop where he's literally saying, here's my ID, here's everything, give me the ticket so I can be on my way. Now you're having the handcuffs, you put them on the side. So, and as you can also see too, I will say Tyreek has calmed down. Initially he was hot. Now the roles are reversed. Now the cop is hot because the cop has all the power, and Tyreek, who thought he had all the power, now is just, very cooperative. Hey, I'll just do whatever you tell me. So it's interesting how the roles seem to have reversed as this thing has gone on a little longer.
Back off right now. Back off right now. Get back. I'm telling you, go back. I don't have to talk to you. Go back. Go back.
How far you want me to
Go back. Wait. Pass that card.
Giving you a lawful command, you need to step down.
You want to be in handcuffs too? All right, then back up. We're not playing this game here, man.
Well, I just want to know what happened.
It's not your business. It's not your business. Keep going back. Hey, get back in your car before you get a ticket. Get back in your car and leave. You gotta go before you get a ticket.
So whoever the body cam, this officer is hot. He's hot. He's threatening everybody. I do understand you have those days, guy, but you're a little too aggressive. You need to relax.
Who's the driver?
This is my car.
All right, move. You gotta move right now. Let me have your license. You get a ticket too.
I'm coming.
Let me have your license. You get a ticket. Let me have your license.
I'm leaving.
I'm not playing. Let me have your license.
Leaving. Yo, what's
your license.
This guy, he's got an issue with you not moving fast enough. He's like, give me you just told me to leave. Let me go. And then he's standing in front of him, so he can't leave that way. This is a madhouse, but we'll see. Is this guy going to get a ticket? This guy's getting a ticket.
License right now.
Sir, what's going on,
your license
man?
right now. You're not going to give me your license?
Hey,
You're not going to give me your license? Let me have your license.
This cop is he's on a major power trip. Yeah, the cop is on a major power trip. Give me your license, dude. Give me your license. Now it's like, hold on. He doesn't know what this guy is. He doesn't know this guy could be related to this guy, right? He doesn't know anything. He's just going around threatening people. And obviously this cop is not trained in de-escalation. Hey, we have a lawful arrest. please get back into your vehicle, because right now, you got to just explain it simply. And all these threats of everybody, it's unbecoming. But let's see what happens.
Your license right now.
Sir,
Hey, your license right now.
I'm leaving.
Or I'm gonna lock you up. Your license right now.
He just told me to.
Your license right now. You're dealing with me now.
Sir.
Your license right now. We're not playing this game here, man.
Leave, then don't leave, then give me your license. Now, mind you, he didn't even have a chance to leave. It was leave now. Okay. Give me your license. It's like, hold on, you didn't even chance. The other guy's like, the other cop is like, go ahead and leave. And it's like, no. You got to give me his license now. So this cop, he's probably looking at some time off. You need some time off because you are a little too hot for comfort.
What's the thing going, man? My license in my bag. Let me get
All
my
right,
bag.
go get your license.
Let me get my bag, man.
Close that door.
Why is he acting up like that? You know who that is, right?
Huh?
You know who that is?
No?
He's one of the Dolphin star players.
Oh, yeah?
Like the other guy says, you know who that is, right? That's one of the Dolphin star players. Like, oh, okay. Hey, the law is the law for everybody. No one's above the law, even the Dolphin star players. All right, so I fast forwarded to another body camera, and this is another angle of the arrest. So let's pick it up from after they picked him up off the floor.
Have a seat. Hey. Have a seat. I'm finna. All right,
No, you're doing it now. Go.
Have a seat. Hold on, twin. Hold on, bro. I just had surgery on my knee. Bro.
He's good.
I just had surgery
Really?
on my
What a
knee, bro.
coincidence, good.
I just had surgery in your ears when we told you to put your window down. Chill, bro. Hey, Joe New, bro.
Back up.
This cop is he's got way too much caffeine or something. The guy's like, sit down. He's like, yo, blah, blah, blah. Well, chill. He's like, yo, I just had surgery with my knee. Chill. Like, come on. He's just grabbing it. He's fussed. This cop is just, he's lost it. Here comes the other guy who's about to threaten his life away and give him a ticket. But yeah, this cop has definitely lost it. He's just, now don't get me wrong. The stop is legit. The ticket's legit. Them taking time to get out the car is all legit. All this extra stuff afterwards is where I think the cop gets I think he gets in trouble for all this other stuff after, because this is all extra stuff, you know. So now you've seen the body camera footage, and everybody now has seen the body camera footage. So there was like reactions before the body camera footage came out, and there's reaction after the body camera footage came out. So I'm not going to play any of that before stuff, because those opinions are ridiculous without more information. So first, let's start with Stephen A. Smith. Let's see his reaction to the body camera footage.
But when it comes to Tyreek Hill, we also can't let him completely off the hook based on the statement that was made by the police department in Florida. They said, quote unquote, he was cooperative. He was uncooperative. We have a responsibility on this show, in any kind of platform that we have, to make sure we're doing what we can to save lives, to make sure that we're doing what we can to ensure that somehow, some way you get to live another day and fight that battle. We know how wrong they were. The police were excessive. No excuses. They should be ashamed of themselves the way they acted. They just went overboard.
I gotta agree with that. Yeah, the police did definitely go overboard. Up to like the first couple of minutes, they were good, but then that one cop, he just went insane.
Totally true, especially when it came to Calais Campbell as well, who did nothing. and put his arms up, he was no threat whatsoever, okay? They told him to step back. He stepped back. He let them know that was his friend. Another team agent, New Smith, comes in there. He's by his car. He's on the phone. He's clearly not posing any threat. The police officers were definitely agitated. They were wrong. Here's the problem. We all came on the air seeing the initial footage in complete, unadulterated support for Tyreek Hill. You pull over. They tell you to roll down your window. What's the first thing Shannon just talked about? The first thing they do when they pull us over, they pull me over, all my windows are down. My hands on the steering wheel. That is not what Tyreek Hill did. Tyreek Hill had his window up. The officer bangs on, knocks on his window. He didn't bang on his window. He knocked on his window. You hesitated to pull it down. The first thing you say is, don't bang on my window like that. Don't bang on my window like that. Don't bang on my window like that. He asked you for your driver's license. You hesitated to give him your driver's license. You said in the post-game conference, hey, y'all, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? What if you weren't Tyreek Hill?
I didn't even think about that. If you weren't Tyreek Hill, you probably get your behind whooped because, it's like only Tyreek Hill could do that. Even if, no matter if you're white, black, whatever, right? Cops come, you're being that uncooperative, you probably got a problem.
What would have happened to you if somebody that wasn't Tyreek Hill kept the windows rolled up, hesitated to roll it down,
Facts.
Didn't give you the license immediately when you asked for it, and then hesitated to get out the car when they told you to get out the car? See, we got to be responsible. And the point that I'm trying to make is this. In no way should the officers be excused for what they did. I totally agree with you, Dom, every syllable. You too, Shannon, every syllable. But I also am saying, yo, Tyreek, yo, bro, you didn't deserve that. I'm not implying that you did. But the police officers do have the power. When they pull up on you and they tell you to roll down that window and they tell you to give you your driver's license and they tell you to get out that car, that's what you got to do.
Would say that.
Facts, right? Stephen A. Smith being reasonable in his interpretation of the facts. I wholeheartedly agree. This is one of those, there's enough blame to go around. I think the cops obviously went overboard. I think Tyreek Hill obviously was uncooperative. And you got two silly people coming together, you get the silly outcome. So, right now, to me, this is like a wash. The cops essentially had all the authority and all the power. That's why they essentially were able to dominate the situation. But I think at the end of the day, Tyreek Hill does have this could have been an easy ticket. If he rolls down his window, hands his ID, says, yes, officer, no, answers the questions, and he could have been on his way with his 1 or 2 tickets, one for a seatbelt, one for speeding. Thank you. He can obviously afford it, right? The $400 or $500 for the speeding ticket ain't going to break Tyreek Hill's pocket. So let's see what our boy Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club says.
Hear that video and say to themselves, I'm calling ICE on every single one of those police officers. Okay, if ever a wall needed to be built, I'm sure they are here legally because they are all police officers, but I just want to make sure, because if you're going to treat Tyreek Hill like that, then I need to make sure you don't need to be deported. Okay, that's number one. Second thing,
I don't know. If Charlemagne was white, would what he said, would that have been racist? If he was white and just said this same exact thing about some Latino officers, would he be considered racist? Interesting.
Sure, some of you thought, why didn't Tyreek just comply? Why didn't he just keep the window down? Why didn't he just tell the police who he was? I'm Tyreek Hill. We got a game to play today. I'm just trying to get to the stadium. Apologies, and keep it moving. Police probably would have gave him an escort. Unless, of course, those officers were betting with the Jaguars. Unless, of course, those officers were betting on their, DraftKings and their FanDuels that Tyreek was going to have a horrible game. If that is the case, then they didn't want to do anything but make sure Tyreek was having a bad day. But back to the Tyreek Hill complying thing, right? I've heard people say he should have just complied. The reason I have trouble with that logic is because ego-driven, power-tripping humans are going to be ego-driven, power-tripping humans regardless. Nothing about this interaction was logical or had any reasoning to it. 1 minute. 60 seconds from pulling him over, they forcibly removed him out of the car and had him on the ground. Folks say Tyreek should have just complied. Well, what about officers should have had better conflict resolution skills? The officers reacted like that simply because Tyreek wouldn't keep his window down?
Yes. They acted like that because he didn't keep his windows. At that point, it's about officer safety. And obviously, Charlemagne wants to make it a black. We can't make it a black-white issue because the officer happened to be Hispanic. So now he's saying, we should check their immigration status, which, again, if he was white, would be racist. But I also think he's not looking at it from the officer's perspective. Compliance, when you pull someone over, you expect them to comply. So I don't know if his argument is that they should not comply, because obviously if you're pulling someone over, that's how you stay alive. You comply. You just imagine he's essentially arguing that Tyreek Hill shouldn't have complied with officers' demands, and that Tyreek Hill is justified with not complying at the beginning. And I would rebut that by making the argument that Tyreek Hill's non-compliance led to the officer's aggression. Now, I believe that the officer's aggression was an overreaction to Tyreek's non-compliance, because it was kind of that subterfuge non-compliance. I'm going to give you my license, but I'm going to give it to you when I really want to, and I'm going to roll down the window, but I'm just going to roll it down a little bit, and then I'm going to make you argue with me to roll it down. Like that type of compliance. So I do agree he was not compliant, but to just absolve Tyreek Hill and say that his non-compliance was no factor in what occurred, that's being dishonest with the audience, right? And that's being dishonest with what we saw. What we saw was him being non-compliant, suffering the repercussions of that. Even though I think there's a fine line, it's just like with everything. There's a balance, and you can go too far. And I think in this case, the officers, justified in their initial reactions, went too far. When they told him to get out the car, he should have sat there and went, "Get out the car, I'm asking you to get out the car, get out the car, get out the car." And be reasonable, get out the car. We've asked you 3 times to get out the car, so we're not going to ask you again. After that, we're going to have to put hands on you. You got to get out the car right now. Like something like that, to at least it makes you appear to be more reasonable. But this officer at the time, when he just grabbed him and pulled him out, it wasn't reasonable.
You already have his license. Run his name, give him his ticket, and let him go on about his business. The officers ask Hill to get out of his vehicle. Tyreek says, "I'm going to get out."
No. It's sad because the reason why he's being asked to get out the vehicle is because the windows were up and officers couldn't see inside the vehicle, right? We remember that picture where we're looking at the vehicle from the officer's perspective. He could have a gun in it. He could have a knife. He could have something that could hurt the officers. And remember, we looked at the Supreme Court case, officer safety. So that's the reason why they were telling him to roll down a window, officer safety. So if he's got the window up, you can't just give him a ticket because you got to make sure you're safe. All right, you now get out the car so I can give you the ticket and know that I am safe. That's the reason why. So Charlemagne, cops are all wrong, dirty, should be deported, mind you. That seems to be his opinion. Let's look at now Brandon Tatum. Brandon Tatum's his whole Tyreek Hill body cam really proves he lied. Let's see what he says.
Tyreek, why do you believe the police put you in handcuffs?
I have no idea, for real. No idea. No idea, man.
You have no idea? Team, people are weird to me. You want to team up with the police, but you can't take accountability for your actions. You were speeding. You know you were speeding. You were late, bro. We get it. Everybody speed. Why can't you say, "Yeah, I was speeding, man, and they pulled me over. I should have listened. Maybe there's a miscommunication. There's some fault on my part, fault on their part. But this could be a lesson learned for the young people. Listen to the cops, man, when they pull you. I was a little upset. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get to work. I didn't like the way he was talking to me. And I didn't want to do what he told me to do. But, at the end of the day, I apologize for what I did. And whatever the case may be, I don't know why I don't even know.
It's funny because I find Tatum's police breakdowns sometimes to be very awful, but this makes sense. I think this makes sense. I think you'd have to be foolish to only believe only one side is wrong here. This is one of those times where both sides have to eat a little bit, the cops and Tyreek. And I think Tatum and I think Stephen A. Smith have both said, like, listen, it's clear what's going on what happened here. And neither side is coming in with its clean hands. But now you move forward and you see what happens next. So now next we'll go to listen to what Tyreek Hill had to say, because he now has what he believes the situation, what he believes happened. So now we get to hear from his perspective. He was the one in handcuffs.
Man, I'm still kind of shell shocked from it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed, but
Well, and when you watch it,
here we are.
Can you tell us what happened with the moment with? You didn't see it there in the video, but you're in the car. They're yelling at you to roll your window down. What was happening there?
You know what? When the officer came up and knocked on my window, I let my window down, cooperated, gave him my ID, and then I immediately let up my window. And then after that, I let back up my window, and then he came back to the window and was like, "Let your window down now. Let your window down now." And then I let it down. That's when he said, "If you don't let your window down, I'm going to snatch you out the car." I was like, "Sir, my window is down. Like, what do you want?" I'm not trying to cause a scene because, if I let my window down, like people walking by, driving by, they gonna notice that it's me, and they gonna start taking pictures. And I didn't want to create a scene at all.
All right, so I think now this gives you more insight. So he doesn't want to let the window down because he doesn't want people to see that he's having this interaction with police, which makes sense. But it also gives you some insight onto why he wants the window up, because as you can see here on the screen, you can't see into that window. So he wants to try to hide from the outside world, and the cops are like, well, we got to be able to see inside there. So they have these competing interests. He's like, I don't want people to see inside the car, and the cops are like, well, we need to see inside the car. So that's why he didn't roll the window all the way down. But now this misunderstanding of both people's motives, his misunderstanding on why the cops want the window down, and the cops misunderstanding why he wants the window up, has caused this whole confusion. So now I also want to note, I think his description of what happened, obviously it's best for him and his attorney in light of the situation. But I'll say this. I think both sides, I feel like Trump now, both sides, but I do think both sides have some blame here. I think Tyreek Hill obviously instigated the situation by his actions earlier in, for the whole the window issue. But I also think now you've told him to get out the car. He's complying. He's opened the door. He's coming out the car. I think that one cop, the Hispanic cop, was just overly aggressive. And I think he should be reprimanded for that aggression. I think he could have handled this totally differently. I think this is why people get hurt, because when you have bad cops, unfortunately, on the force, and they put people in situations where you have to be physical with people. And in this situation, because remember, think about it this way, people. This is a simple speeding ticket and maybe seatbelt violation, and we're still talking about it 3 days later. So it's obviously it's an overreaction of an overreaction of an overreaction. But as always, tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Either you're going to see either I'm pro cop or I'm pro black guy, or, I funny because I have videos where people are like, Nate's a BLM activist that I got. Nate's, he loves the police. So I'm fine with either description of the way I look at these things. But I think based on the facts that we see, I think this was a misunderstanding that just went out of control. And I don't think there's any sacred cows here. I think Tyreek Hill, he's just as guilty in this situation as the officers are. And make no doubt about it, these officers, well, that one officer in particular, he definitely should be reprimanded, or he should be retrained, because that's dangerous to be out there with that type of chip on your shoulder. Now, again, tell me where I'm in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.